Hey everyone, it's Dale, and we're going to walk through the process now of taking our broadcast script and turning it into a story for the web. So you can see here I have our Wendy Davis script that we wrote in class. I also have the transcriptions of my sound bites available in case I want to use a different version of those. And then I'm logged into Tumblr and I'm now on the class blog, so I can go ahead and make the post, and I'll walk you through that process as well. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is that you avoid copying and pasting this into a Word document and then trying to write from that. Instead, what I would recommend is starting a new document and just using this as a basis for what you're going to do. What I found in the past is that students who copy and paste this and try to work from it tend to not do it properly, and you're constantly thinking of how can I reword this, as opposed to working a new story that is basically just taking this information and changing it, the style of it. So hopefully you'll see what I mean by this here in just a second as we're writing. So again, I'm going to begin writing this, and we're going to write this as if we're posting it to the web Wednesday night, the night that this event happened. So I'm working in inverted pyramid style, and my lead would be something like this. Sorry, thinking out loud. Former gubernatorial candidate Wendy Davis spoke to a packed house at Texas State University Wednesday night. Okay, so that's my lead. It's inverted pyramid style. I've got the who, I've got the what, I've got the where, and the when. So I got 4 of the who, what, when, where, why answered, and that's pretty good for a lead. So now I'm going to look over here and let's see where we're going to go next. So I mentioned the packed house. So now I'm going to mention the why she was here. Addressed the weekly meeting, the Texas State Democrats inside a classroom in Evans Liberal Arts Building. Classroom typically holds about 80 students, but there were more than one, or about 150 people there to see Davis. Okay. So now I'm still just basically working my way down here because it's happened to work for my script, and I'm going to use this quote or this soundbite, but I really want a little bit more meat for it for the web story, so I'm going to go find it over here, and I'm going to copy this whole thing, and now let's copy and paste that in. So I can get rid of this first part, and so here we go with, it's very gratifying to see that young people are paying attention to what I'm doing, Davis said. Now remember, we have previous reference to her, so I only need last name, and so in that case it's last name said. Attribution goes at the end of the first complete sentence. So then I'd start a new quote mark there. I'm mostly inspired about the opportunity to talk to folks about how important their voices are in the electoral process, and so excited to see the enthusiasm that I was greeted with here today. Okay, so I've got that quote done. So Davis talked about a few of her most passionate topics, namely putting yourself in other people's shoes in order to gain a better perspective. And let's see. And then she also encouraged sorry, having problems typing. She also encouraged young people to get involved in the process of government. She said that not only means voting, but also um, volunteering for political, man, I'm having a big problem typing today. Volunteering for political candidates and running for office. Okay, so now that's a complete thought. And I'm going to go ahead and skip this soundbite because it doesn't really fit with what I'm saying. So I'm going to go down and we'll work on to Davis spent 80 minutes after the talk taking selfies and signing autographs for students. Several students, especially females, became emotional while meeting her, or while meeting Davis, who became known around the country after her filibuster in support of abortion rights and women's health issues. All right, so now I can go to that quote from her. It is a privilege to feel like you've spoken in a way that matters to her. But again, I want to use the fuller version of that. So I'm going to grab this. And let's go back to our script right here. So it is a privilege to feel like you've spoken in a way that matters to someone. Davis said. So again, my advice, of course, to all these young people here tonight and anyone who cares to listen is to be the type of person who fights for things that matter to you, and it will take you to where you're meant to go. Davis, I don't like that I've started every paragraph with Davis so far, so I'm going to switch it up. As for her future, Davis said she wants, let's see, how did we phrase this? She still wants to serve. She doesn't know if that means running for future office, however. Okay, so there we have a nice, decent web story. I can go in and just make all the font similar, just so it's clear, but we've written that in inverted pyramid style. It's AP style friendly. We've got an inverted pyramid hard news lead. I don't have any bullet points or anything because I don't really have anything that could be considered a list. I mean, I guess I could do this as a list, but I don't think I have enough there to justify bullet points. I also don't have any subheads because, quite frankly, the story's not long enough. And again, this one's 280 words. That's even maybe a little long, so about 250 is completely fine. So let's now go ahead and post this story onto Tumblr, and I'll walk you through the Tumblr process. Okay, so now we're in Tumblr, and you're going to want to, first things first, make sure that you're on the class blog site. So if you're in the Monday, Wednesday class, you'll be a part of this blog. If you're in the Tuesday, Thursday class, it'll say TR class blog. But you need to see this right here. That means that you're posting in the class blog. If you already had a Tumblr account, you might see your own name there. And if you do that, you'll post to your personal blog, and then that way I won't see it and it becomes a problem. So if you already had a Tumblr account, you're going to want to go to this little icon of a person right here and then pick the class blog from this selection right here. If you just signed up for Tumblr for the first time, then you won't have to worry about this. The class blog should be the default option. So here are our capabilities in terms of posting. We're going to want to just post a text post. And when I copy and paste our script, you're going to notice that looks really weird. Let's go ahead and see what we can do to that, though. So because that looks weird, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it into a text file and get rid of all the markup that Microsoft Word attaches to it. And now it looks a lot better. So if you have that problem, the quick and easy solution is to open up something like Text Editor or Notepad on a PC, copy and paste that into a plain text script, and then copy and paste it back. You typically won't have that problem, but it does come up time to time, especially if you're using weird fonts. So I have my script in there now. Everything's good to go. The title will be the headline. So Wendy Davis speaks at Texas State. And then don't forget, the first thing you need here is a byline. So there's that. And then you'll remember there are two other things you need to add. One is an image that you took yourself. And I already have this image here of Wendy speaking to a student. And that's one that I took myself. And then I also need a link. So let's put the image in first. And you can either put it in right underneath your byline, or you can put it in at an appropriate point in the story. So if I go ahead and create a line here, you're going to see this little plus sign icon popped up. And now I have an option to grab a photo. So I'm just going to select that Wendy photo, and so now it lives right there in the story. I could put another picture if I wanted to up here, but I'm okay with it being right there because that's where I'm talking about it. The only other thing is I need to find something for a link, which I could link to. I'm sure Wendy Davis has her own site. So I could link to her Twitter account. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to link to her Twitter account, and that will count as the link. So to do that, now once I highlight all that stuff, you'll see these options have popped up. So that's how you can create bold font or italics. But I'm going to click on this little link icon right there. I'm going to copy and paste that and hit done. And now you'll see it's highlighted. And then all I have to do is go down here to post. And now my post is ready. I have a byline, I have a link, I have an image, and I have a complete web story that is ready for the public to consume. So it's really not a difficult process. It just takes a couple extra steps. You have to put a little bit of thought, a little bit of time into it. Make sure you're using proper quote style. Make sure you're using proper web storytelling tools, and you should be good to go.